So we have a new moon in Scorpio that is happening on November 1st. So it's happening on Friday. It's happening in the morning here, Pacific time. And let's remember that for every new moon, the sun and the moon are together. They're right next to each other, which is why it's a new moon. We can't see it because the moon is invisible inside of the brightness of the sun. And these are happening in the gate 44. So the gate 44 is the energy for understanding the past and being able to tell the truth about the past. It is an energy that helps liberate us from the ways that we've maybe been carrying around really burdensome stories of the past. A lot of times, young people will blame themselves for things that are happening in their world, not realizing that they're just a child and the adults in their lives are running around doing adult things and having adult challenges. But many times when we're young, we think that the challenges that our adults are having are due to us. So in our personal lives, this is a great time for us to be reviewing our own history and to be telling the truth about it, just bringing ourselves up to date. So that's a great exercise that you can do. And you can, because it's a new moon, it's a really good time for you to be planting seeds as well, right? Is that you're setting your intentions for this upcoming lunation. And so you can be doing that as well. And I would encourage you to really be looking at, how can you at the deepest level, the most profound and the most significant places, liberate yourself from your past. All of the energy that is moving through our planet right now is about liberating ourselves from the past. And the sun and the moon being in that gate 44 is blinking that loud and clear. You'll also see that gate 44 is in a channel to the gate 26, which is on the will center. So the will center is over here on the left-hand side of the body. The spleen is over here on the right-hand side of the body. And they're not actually as far apart as it looks like they are because our bodies aren't that wide, but they have this channel that is going here. So it is the 4426. So this channel is known as the channel of surrender in traditional human design and the channel of alignment in quantum human design. And what I want to focus on here is that Venus is lighting up that gate 26. And we'll come back to this a little bit later because I want to talk a little bit more about Venus's journey. But Venus is lighting up the gate of integrity. And in human design, we consider Venus to be values. So Venus is lighting up this gate 26 and saying, where are our values? Are we in integrity with our own values? Or are we out of integrity with our values? That's how we can get out of alignment. And then we need to get back into alignment, right? So we're looking at, are we in alignment with our values and are we telling the truth about the past? That's what that channel is really lighting up and saying, how can we get ourselves really into alignment with the truth and with our own integrity based on our own values? So this is pretty supercharged in the human design system as well as in the astrological system. So that's the basics of what's going on with this new moon. It's a new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is like the depths, right? Scorpio is all about being able to go into the depths. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Scorpio, it helps us to really go into the underworld, go into the subconscious, helps us release things out of that area of our psyche so that we can be more free, right? And Pluto is always about helping us to face whatever it is we need to face, deal with whatever it is that we're ignoring so that we can, again, be more free, because Pluto ultimately is a liberator, right? But sometimes we have to really go down in order to get out. So we've got this going on with this Scorpio new moon. Now, one of the things that I just want to note here and show you what it looks like in the human design system, because this is a big deal in the astrological world, which is that Pluto and Mars are in opposition to each other. So in the astrological world, oppositions are a very powerful and potentially conflictual alignment. And so we've got Pluto opposite in Mars. Pluto is in gate 60 in the human design system, and it's at the 29th degree of Capricorn. And then Mars is in the gate 56 and is in Cancer, also at the 29th degree. So they're both at that 29th degree, which some astrologers say can be kind of gnarly. Others are like, it's really shamanic. So I guess we'll get to find out. But the point here is that Mars historically is known as the god of war, right? He's really like, he's that rules Aries. I'm an Aries sun, so I know Mars really well. I've had to do my dance with Mars. I've had to learn how to work with that really powerful energy. He definitely can be the god of war. Also, Mars in the human design system is sometimes seen as like a kind of our immature acting out, which I would call the disempowered expression, or in human design, usually we call that the lower expression. But Mars can also be the spiritual warrior. Mars can give you that agency that you need to create change, because Mars is an action taker, right? He's got the sword in his hand and he's like, I'm going for it. So he's absolutely an action taker and he gets things started. So here we've got Mars in Cancer, which is all about caring for each other and compassion. And so Mars is kind of like learning perhaps how to be more compassionate in his journey through Cancer. And then we've got Pluto, which we've been talking about for months, right? Pluto is at that last degree of Capricorn. Pluto's finally going to move all the way into Aquarius, and we'll come back to that in a second, right? But they're opposing each other. And Pluto is like the higher expression of Mars, and an octave above is what some of the astrologers call it, right? Like a more mature version. And so Pluto is helping Mars to evolve, potentially, as long as they don't come to loggerheads and start fighting each other, which is also a potential. So for you in your life, I'm going to be looking at my Mars, right? Because Mars is my ruling planet. But you can look at Mars for yourself and see, where is your inner fighter, right? Have you been falling into that conflict energy, which is unfortunately getting bigger and bigger on the planet right now? Are you falling into the conflict energy? Or are you saying, you know what? I am not going to get into the fight. I am going to be the spiritual warrior, so that you can stand up for what matters to you, what you care about, right? But not to do it in a way that you actually get into a fight or create real conflict or violence. And that's the thing that we're evolving with right now. Because of course we're different. We're not all going to agree about things. We're not all going to want things to go the same way. That's normal, right? We want diversity. But how can we evolve out of using violence to try to get our own way, right? Which to me is a pretty adolescent way of being. And so we're evolving out of that. The other piece is that Mars is lighting up the gate 56. The gate 56 is a storytelling gate. And it is a storytelling gate. It's known as the divine storyteller in quantum human design. And it's really helping us to take a look at the stories that we're telling ourselves. And so Mars is lighting this up, right? Are we telling stories about how conflict is the only way for us to get what we want? Are we telling stories about how we have to fight and we have to defeat and we have to beat down our enemies, right? Is that the story that we're telling? Or are we telling a story about how we made it through and found a way to actually listen to each other and work things out with each other rather than fighting each other? So these are some of the themes that this opposition is bringing up for us. Like I said, I'll put some of the astrologers down in the description. So if you want to dig into this more, there's lots and lots of people talking about it, because it's a big one, right? And this is also happening right before the election here in the United States. This opposition is exact, I believe, on November 3rd. And we're going to be living with this for a few months now, because it's going to be coming into exact and then moving away. The planets are kind of be doing this, right? And when I do that, I feel like energy is really building. So this is not something that's, one and done. It's like here and then gone. It's actually, we're going to be living with this through April of next year. So it's good to be aware of what this influence is for you and how you can really work it for yourself, for your own benefit, rather than feeling like you're at the mercy of it.